Hello.
Hello,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay. I have everything set up. I'm recording right now.
Okay, awesome.
Um, Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Okay, cool. Do you want me to start now?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I'll just introduce myself. So, I'm Nicole. Um, I'm 30 years old. I'm originally from Ecuador, but I'm half Colombian. But when I was 12, we moved to Belgium. So basically, I was raised in Belgium. Um,
Okay.
okay.
I've seen you travel a lot. Or
Yeah.
you go what types of destinations do you typically go to?
Okay, so yeah, so like basically I've been traveling for the last 9 years nonstop. Um, my kind of destinations have been a little bit of everywhere, but I would say my favorite destinations and the ones that I look forward to the most are like let's say countries that have less. So I mostly go to like Southeast Asian countries, South America. I prefer those compared to like European countries.
Hmm. Any specific reasons why you pick those types of countries?
Yeah, so first of all, because I feel that they have so much more culture, so much more to offer. I feel like, let's say, like modern countries, countries that are up to date, have a lot of things in common. When then you go to countries that don't, they have much more to show in their cultures, in their food, in their way of living. And it's just, you can learn so much more from going to those countries, basically, than just going to a trip to, I don't know, somewhere in Europe.
Mm. What would you say? Or is there do you pick a different destination every time, or do you return to certain uh, countries? That is there like a favorite or anything in specific?
Okay, so basically, I've actually never really been to the same spot twice. Um, the reason because of that is because the world is way too big, and so and there's so little time. So I would not want to go back to the places I've been already, even though deep inside, like I would love to visit some places again. Um, I cannot say I've found like a favorite because all of them depends of like the memories that you've created and the people you've actually met and have been traveling with when in those countries.
Mm.
In that case, but I do then have some countries that I do love, and one of them would definitely be Colombia, um, because of the culture, the music, and I just feel most at home being in Colombia, definitely. Um, but then there's other countries like Australia was beautiful, Vietnam is incredible. Um, any Southeast Asian country, like it's amazing. Like it's very difficult to choose one, to be honest.
Okay.
Also when traveling, I tend to just stay as long as my visa allows me. So if the visa is 1 month, I try to stay there for 1 month. I don't know, like I'd like to experience the whole thing fully, not just a weekend or so.
Okay. What type of people have you met there? Do you have any stories about Asia or Colombia or any country you've been to?
About people specifically?
Yeah, people specifically. Maybe you've just encountered something, or met
Oh,
someone?
uh, I've encountered thousands and thousands of things. Um, like I have lots of stories where people are in there as well. But for example, I was traveling through the Amazon, through from Ecuador to Peru on a small local boat that ended up getting stuck. So it was meant to be like a 4-day trip, which ended up being an 8-day trip. Um, so we had the people I was traveling with. We had enough food for 4 days, and then after the 4 days, well, we started let's say, running out of food and water. But luckily enough, the people on the boat, they were very, very generous. They had like a slaughtered pig from in the beginning of our trip, and they were making food out of that. And they were providing us food, which was like an incredible gesture. So we were eating very, very, very local. When we ran out of water, though, we did have to get water from the river, and we did have like some pills to like clean the water up, and then we like boiled it. So the water was still brown, but but it smelled like chlorine. So I mean, that's how we had to survive for like 8 days. So that was like one of like an amazing experience. But I have many stories like that. Like I got Zika and dengue when I was traveling through South America at the same time. Like it was very painful. Um, is there anything like, is that good, or are you looking for other kind of stories?
No, you tell me. I don't. I can't. I don't know where you've been, or the types of thing you've been through, or encountered, or have seen in those types of countries. So I'm just. I don't. I'm not specifically. I'm just asking around to see. Uh, who do you usually go to those types of how does the process of you traveling around happen exactly? Is it something that you just pick a country and you go there, or is there like some sort of process to you going anywhere?
Yeah, so actually I'm a solo female traveler. So I've been traveling for the last 8 years solo. Um, the first time I actually did a very long travel, 6 months through South America. I did have everything planned from the countries to each little town I was gonna head to. But I remember being in Bucaramanga in Colombia, and I met this Argentinian guy, and he asked me if I had everything planned, and I told him that I did, and he laughed and he said, well, that's definitely something that's going to change. And I asked him why, and he's like, you will see. You will meet people, you will see that everything is going to change, like plans always change. And literally, that's how it always went. Like a few days later, my plans changed because I met people and we went traveling completely different way than I had planned. So after that, I decided not to plan anything anymore. Um, I actually decide where I'm gonna go probably just a few months before. I check the tickets and I head there. So like the last time I was in Southeast Asia for about maybe 8 months. I headed to the Philippines, but had no idea what was going to happen after the Philippines. I ended up doing Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, and then headed to Indonesia after that. But none of it was planned. I was just going with the flow. The day I arrived even to Vietnam, I had no idea of like what places and what cities I was going to visit. So I literally just once I get there, I just go with the flow, and this is the way I like traveling, and this is how it's been for the last 8 years.
But what made you decide to, become a traveler exactly? When did you make the decision to really just go out and start going around, and
Yeah. Okay, so basically, I was studying in Italy, in Milan. I was doing my bachelor's degree on fashion design and styling, which, yeah, it's completely different than what I do now. And it was vacation time, and we were all staying in Milan. Now, you have to know this about Milan. Once it's summer there, everybody leaves. So the whole city just like becomes very like closed off, nothing happens, the streets are very quiet, and I really, really wanted to go traveling somewhere. So I texted my friends and I told them like, hey girls, we should go traveling somewhere. And each and one of them was busy or had their boyfriend or couldn't do it. So I was like, well, I can't stay here. I need to go somewhere. And I checked for flights, and I saw one of the flights, a very cheap flight to Budapest for, I think it was 50 euros for like a few days. I think it was like a bit longer than a weekend. So then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go and try and do this on my own. And I ended up going, and I ended up staying at a hostel, and it was like literally an incredible experience. I met so many people, and that's when I realized how easy it is to actually travel the world on your own. Then my second trip was Sri Lanka, which was 2 weeks. I did a solo trip on my own as well, and had the most incredible time of my life. So after that, I was like, if this is how it's going to be every time I'm going to keep on traveling, then why stop now? And so I've been traveling ever since.
how many times a year do you travel usually?
I'm a non-stop traveler, so I'm basically constantly traveling. Like, the best question to ask is how many times I come back to Belgium in the last 8 years, and that's probably once or twice
Oh,
a year.
you're currently in Belgium, or are you somewhere else?
I am currently in Belgium right now, yeah.
Okay.
I had to get a repatriation flight back from Colombia.
A what?
I had to get a repatriation flight back from Colombia because of COVID.
Oh, so yeah, so you were forced to be back here.
Yeah.
Oh, where were you when you had to come? Where were you? I think you
I,
just.
yeah, I was in Colombia, in
Oh
Cartagena.
yeah. Okay. Where in Colombia were you at the time?
In Cartagena, so it's in the northern part of
Oh,
Colombia.
what type of um yeah, what type of play? I don't know how to say it, but like what type of
Scenery, so it was
yeah,
like beaches.
beach. Oh, yeah.
Beaches, and then the desert and the beaches as well.
Have you ever gone into jungle areas or any of those types of stuff?
Yeah, so that first story I told you was in the Amazon.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the Amazon, I've been in the Amazon a couple times. Originally, actually, my great-grandparents used to live in the Amazon. So when I was very, very little, I used to live there with them.
Did you do anything special in those, or see anything special there?
Well, depends what you think it's special. What I would think is normal. So, yeah, I guess things that a lot of people find taboo nowadays, which is like slaughtering of animals and eating them. Like the normal thing, hunting. What I loved was going around and finding the cacao beans and taking them off the trees and actually like biting them and actually tasting fresh cacao, like chocolate, so like where it comes from. So that was pretty special. Um, Camping in the Amazon was incredible. Literally trying to survive, like trying to survive in the Amazon.
So your trips are usually survival based. You don't book a hotel, or well, maybe sometimes probably, but
Really rarely, like mostly I do try to stay at hostels or camping or um, guest houses or trying to stay with the local people. Yeah,
mm,
I find it's more, it gives more to the experience.
okay. Have you ever done a uh, okay, I'm losing my trail of thought. Do you So you're back in Belgium now? Have you any idea where you're going next, or are you just going back to where you were last time?
No, so basically, like I said before, I never plan up front. So, what will happen is once it's safe to start traveling again, I think I would start traveling a little bit around Europe. I've made a lot of friends along the way while traveling. So, there's a lot of places I can go visit and visit a lot of friends. So the idea is Spain, Italy, Germany, and back to Greece as well.
Nice. And you kind of just went around and you made a the friends you have. Do Are they people you meet in different countries that you then visit in their home country, or are they usually people that are local that you meet in the?
So basically, it's both. I've met people that are local that I then afterwards go and visit them again, or I meet people that I have been traveling around that same country as well. So then we end up becoming very good friends, and then I get invited to go and visit them in their hometown, which then happens, or they come visit me wherever I am at that moment.
Hmm. So is there like a specific reason why you travel? Is there like um
Yeah,
some?
so like I feel like when I travel, it just brings so much more fulfillment. Like I get to know so many different things about the world traveling, and it fulfills me so much more than actually staying in one country. It has opened my mind so much, and that's why I keep on doing it as well. The experiences that I have with the people, the genuine connections that I get with people, I find it so much more fulfilling than actually just having a 9 to 5 job and having to do the same thing every single day until I die.
Yeah. Are you how long do you think you're going to keep um doing what you're doing? Are you going to? Well, yeah. I think you just kind of said that, but like, are you really going to drop that, or do you have like some sort of mission? Are you like trying to, you're learning about cultures and other people? Are you like, do
Hmm.
you want to write a book, or do you have some sort of?
Yeah, so my idea is basically to open up a company for people that like to travel the same way I do. So it's very local. The idea is to bring back money to the communities from those countries. So a lot of like people, like for example, if you'd go to the Philippines, you mostly would be staying at a hotel that is not even the owner is not even from the Philippines. My idea is basically to bring back to communities and like travel very local. And so then we would be staying with local people, eating at a local restaurant, and if you get surf classes, it's going to be from a local person. So the way of traveling is going to be a different experience than actually staying with at a hotel or something like that. So that's my idea. And because I've been traveling and I've been in those places for a very long time, and because I've traveled that way, I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of people that want to partner up, and that would be basically the idea. Also, the idea is to write a book. It's actually a kid's book that will teach them about different cultures and different places in the world, because nowadays you talk to like 11-year-olds and they don't even know where Egypt is. And I find that very disturbing. So the idea would be to bring knowledge to other people as well.
Mm. Are you planning to stay like a Belgian, or are you going to like at some point become some different type of nationality, or like I guess you said your parents moved to Belgium, if I'm yeah. Are you like going to do the same thing as your parent and like move somewhere else, and or are you like more of a
Actually, I have no idea. I have family in the States. I have family in Australia. I have family in Spain. To be honest, like I'm very happy being a Belgian citizen, and I don't know if that'll change or not. Like I do think that Belgium is an amazing place to like raise kids and stuff like that. So when I'm ready to settle, Belgium could definitely be a place. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop traveling. Like travel is still gonna be in the agenda.
yeah. The travel agent, see what type of you were saying something like traveling the way you did, is that kind of like I think I used to see like some website that was like, I don't know what the name was, like couchsurfing.com or something like that. Do you travel more like, do you use technology to travel around, or are you like solely traveling based on like whatever you come across, there you go? And
Yeah, I do use sometimes technology to use, like I do use like a hostel world or something like that if I need to go to a hostel specifically. But when I'm in real rural areas, let's say, I don't use technology because most of the times there's no internet. So then you just go with the flow and the people you meet. You know, in Brazil, I was hitchhiking, and we got on this big truck with my friend, and you know, people say like never hitchhike, you have to be careful, but like we know how to trust our gut, and this guy took us all the way to our destination, and he took us to this hotel that was like a local hotel. He gave us a good price, so we ended up spending €5 for 2 nights for like a hotel room for us. And then the day after, he invited us to go and have lunch with his family. And so we did. And so it was like things like that happen, you know. And then the day after, we hitchhike again, and then we meet somebody else, and then they let us stay in their house. So it's just mostly going with the flow. It's the best way.
yeah. Do you feel there's like a difference in hospitality when it comes to like European countries, or like more Northern American countries in comparison to the ones you said you were South America and those types of.
Yeah, definitely. There's a huge difference, like I think, but it depends also where, because like in Italy, their hospitality is incredible. Like they're very, very hospitable. But other countries, they're really more scared and skeptical about other people. And then when you go to like Southeast Asia or countries that have less, they are very open and they want you to come in and they want to be hospitable. So I do agree. I do think it's so much better in countries like that, Like even in the Middle East, like there's so many places where people are so much more hospitable. Than, let's say, other European or like the US. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can't really imagine a lot of. Well, I don't think entirely, but I think here in Belgium, being very, hospitable to people, it seems like not something that I'd see happen here. Well,
No.
well, it might just be my outlook on Belgium, but
No, it's true. Completely 100% agree. Like it won't happen as much in Belgium than in, like, let's say Italy or in Colombia, where a lot of people are very open.
do you think even is that like a Belgian thing? Because if I think about the Netherlands, for example, I think that they might be, from my experience, they are quite
A bit more open.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just more the more north you go, the more cold people are. Now, I think the Netherlands, it just has so much more, it's more richer of cultures, I think. But you're right. Like, I feel like the people from the Netherlands might be more open.
Yeah. Are there you? How many countries have you been to? Have you?
Oof, that's difficult because like I haven't really like counted exactly, but I think it's up to 57, 58.
Okay. And mainly not you haven't been to countries like Sweden or any of those types.
I've been to Switzerland and like Italy, Germany, and all those places, but I still would love to visit Finland and Denmark and like go a bit more north. But yeah, I haven't had that opportunity yet, but I will in the future.
Mainly just anything that's like warm and
Yes. Mostly if it's warm, you'll see me there.
yeah. I guess if you have to survive there, maybe being in some cold environment is less pleasant than being. Have you ever had to like sleep outside or any?
Yeah. Like I've slept in hammocks a lot. At bus stops in South America, it's happened. Um, um, what else? I went like last year. No, 2 years ago, I did 3 months camping through the northern part of Australia. I don't know if that counts. Um, but it was 3 months straight on a rooftop tent, just sleeping outdoors. Um, Other than that, yeah, when I'm in South America, a lot of hammock sleeping, which is the best,
Mm.
right in front of the beach.
Do you always bring like a tent, or do you just do you you know
Yeah, so I've had I have actually two small hammocks that open up, and when you close them, they actually become very small. So it's perfect when backpacking. So those hammocks are always with me. It doesn't matter where I go. Now a tent, I don't specifically travel with one, but I did have one when I was in South America 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and that one did come in handy a few times, especially when we were in the Amazon. We use that because of the mosquitoes and so. But other than that, I don't really travel with the hammock, with the tent, just with the hammocks.
Um, well, I guess. Uh, are there any other stories that you have about any of your travels that you know?
Yeah, I have actually quite a lot of stories. I just have to remember. Okay, so um, I have a think against. I don't know if it's important though or not, but like when I was in Cape York, in South Africa, I once got chased by an ostrich because so we were on a car and we were driving and we saw an ostrich. So I decided to get out of the car because I was in that period of time where I wanted to take pictures of animals close by. Stupid, I know. Anyhow, I went to the ostrich and I started taking pictures of it, but I came in between the ostrich and its babies, and that's something you should definitely not do. So the last picture I have of the ostrich is the ostrich actually putting its leg up, and that's when I realized, holy shit, I need to run. So then I started running. I ran towards the car, but it's one of those cars that locks themselves once you close the door. So my friends were inside of the car, but I was outside, and they didn't notice that the car was locked. So when I tried to open it, I couldn't open it, so I had to keep on running. And so the ostrich basically was running around the car with me until I started screaming like, open the door, open the door. And after like 3 rounds of like running, I finally was able to get into the car, and then we like drove away. After that, I have like a big scare of birds. Like I hate birds so much.
Any other animals that you've?
Yes, always birds, always birds. Australia, I was doing my farm work in Australia, so to get your second year visa, you need to do 88 days of farm work. And I went for a run, and in Australia, there's this birds called the magpies. So they're very known for when they're actually when they just had their babies, they're very protective. So when there's people around, they'll attack the people. So I went for a run and I felt like a very hard hit in the back of my head. And I looked backwards and I saw no one. And so then I looked upwards and I saw the bird actually flying up and coming back down at me. So it like attacked me a couple times. And then I had to run away and I ran into this street, but it was like a dead end street and I couldn't get anywhere. So I had to like, each time I would come to the corner to go back to my hostel, the bird would come and attack me. This is like many years ago. So then I went and sat in a corner and I started crying. I was really scared. I couldn't go anywhere. And then finally a car came and he was like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I explained that the magpie was there and I wasn't able to return back. So he like told me he would give me a lift to my hostel, and that's how I got back. Other than that, like I've always been attacked by pigeons. I don't know, like birds have something against me. In Australia, there's this other bird called the bin chuck, which is like a bird with like a long beak, and it like enters into like the trash cans, and they're like in the city in Sydney. And I was in a park having like a picnic, and it came and like it started biting my finger and stuff like that. Like birds are crazy. And then another time would be in Thailand. I got bit by a monkey on my side because I was sitting somewhere I shouldn't have been sitting, obviously. And then he came and grabbed my side and bit me. I just cleaned it up and that's it. I mean, I never got rabies, so that's so far with like the animal stories, I think.
What type of bird was the one that was like attacking you in the when you had to do the farm work, I guess?
Yeah, so it's called the magpie.
Um, that's a bird that I usually
Uh,
I'm going to look it up right now.
yeah, look it up. Put magpie
Oh,
Australia attacks. They are crazy.
but they're really beautiful. They're quite beautiful, I think.
No, 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 no.
No?
No, they're vicious. Vicious little creatures.
What did it look like? Because I'm looking at a picture of like a beautiful blue bird with like white and black, or was it
Ew.
one the
It's just black and white
just
normally.
black and white?
Yeah.
There's magpies that are like have all sorts of colors, but there's like also the just black and white ones. Yeah.
Magpie Australia attacks. Like they've cut kids' eyes out and stuff like that.
Oh. Have you seen? Well, you've been to Australia. You've probably seen like kangaroos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm. Are
I've
there?
also seen sharks. I saw a 4 meter bull shark when I was in the northern of Australia. I've seen crocodiles, snakes.
Have you seen any sort of like weird animals or any of those? Something that's like. I'm always like thinking, are there like animals that I don't know? It's always like something that
Emus?
I'm like,
Emus? I think it's called emus. I've seen one of those.
yeah, the emus.
A lot of spiders in Australia.
So you're going now through Europe first because likely with COVID-19 you're not going to be allowed to travel too far out probably or not.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
And you're but you don't make any plans, so you're so asking like what.
No. No, I don't make any plans, and on top of that, like, it'd be stupid of me to also just go out. Like, I think people should be very careful right now because there's a second wave coming. So
A second wave of corona?
I think so. In my like conspiracy theories and all those things, like, it's just obvious that I hope not, but that a second wave might come.
Mm. It might be, but I'm not very keen on the measures. I don't know. Have you met anyone that like ended up, or have you had it yourself, or no, or anything?
No, but like when I was in Colombia, there were so many people around dying, and um, I had a friend of mine, and her family member died from corona and stuff. So
Mm. Yeah, it's maybe a kind of a topic for in a few years when it's all over and we can like look back
yeah,
and make a.
yeah, indeed.
Do you think that it's going to affect travel in the future? Are there going to be any sort
No,
of no?
no, no, no. People, um, no, people don't change. And it's not going to change it. Like, tourism is there, and it's never going to stop. Like, I know so many people that look forward to just traveling. I'm pretty sure they'll try to be safer, that for sure. But traveling and tourism is definitely still going to be up and going.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Do you have like? Do you think the panic is like overrated, or is it like
No,
Yes.
I don't think it's overrated at all. I think it's people should be careful because there's a lot of people dying, and like I feel like people should just be careful and like if you can like make sure you're not spreading it more, then it's fine.
Okay. I think I'm looking at the time. We can keep going, or we can. Do
Well,
you?
do you have enough?
I don't know. I think uh, an hour would be good, but we can go on for 20 minutes. But if you would like to, do
Mm,
you travel full time, right? So you don't do anything else besides traveling.
yeah.
So
Um,
since you're not allowed to travel right now, what are you doing now? Now that you're
I'm
here,
uh I'm making masks, I'm selling them.
you're selling masks.
Yeah, I am. Ah, don't put that in there.
You're selling them to girls, or are you like?
No, just friends and people. They like a little bit of a more fashionable kind of mask, you know? If you need to wear a mask, why not be a little bit more fashionable, right?
Yeah, that's sure.
A lot of teenagers that are into that. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, I've even seen like I don't know if Bart Bart Wever is still I don't know how to say it in English, but the mayor I don't know even know if he's still the mayor of Antwerp, but he had a really strange mask on. He looked like
Really?
kind of yeah, kind of Hannibal Lecter type.
Oh no, that's terrible. No, I make ones with like very nice little figures on them, and it's like a very tight one to the mouth. So like a lot of teenage girls like that because you need to wear a mask to go on like open like transportation. So the masks are safe and like they also are a bit fashionable, and so it works. So I'm doing whatever I can to like get a little bit of money. I'm applying for jobs now as well until I'm able to like find a job and work and save up a little bit again.
Yeah. I guess we'll leave it for here.
Okay. Well, if you need more like stories or whatever, or if it wasn't enough, just let me know and then we could do it again.
Yeah, sure. I'll
Yeah.
let you know.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I'll see you
Okay.
then.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you. I'll
Yeah,
talk to
nice
you
talking to
soon.
you too. Bye.
Bye. Bye.